if you were to look at USC's competition for 2023, I think obviously the four primary contenders are the Oregon schools, Washington, and Utah. So of those four, which one are you most focused on, most worried about? How do you think that those four competitors stack up 1 through 4?
Well, there's a lot of turnover at Oregon, right? And they Bo Nix coming back though is going to be problematic. We haven't seen them, right? So we're playing Washington. Well, my biggest worry about next year is not really other teams, honestly. To be honest, Matt, I'm being dead serious. I think it's about how these pieces fit, because it looks like we've shored up some pretty difficult holes we've had, and now we have a lot more chess pieces, right? You're talking about that middle linebacker. We have it's almost like a Swiss Army knife at middle linebacker now. There's a lot of different profiles you can put in there depending on what defense you're facing. So I think for USC, it's really going to come down to staying healthy and some of these pieces that are coming in, filling in for some big shoes that will be leaving. Tui Pelotu, I know it's a long shot. People, I'm telling you, no one bank on that. I would, if I was advising him, I'd hope he's going to the NFL. But man, if he came back again, that changes a lot of things as well. So I think that everyone is getting better. We talked about DJ going to Oregon State. Talked about what's going on down in the South. I think the South could be weak now, right? I think it should be. Do you guys know if we're going to have the same type of scheduling next year as far as heavily laden? The schedules came out, right?
No, it's going to be released in January, but they are going to schedule it according to like the familiar framework. And then, of course, it's going to change in 2024 with USC and UCLA in the Big Ten. So they're going to use the familiar schedule format, but they're delaying the release because they want to wait for more transfer portal and personnel transactions to occur. That Merton Hanks told John Wilner that. So they're trying to just create as balanced a situation as possible, because like we've seen, Oregon hosts Washington after Washington has a California road trip and Oregon has an off week. They're trying to get on top of not having those kinds of imbalances for the bigger games of the season.
Yeah. All the teams you named are losing a lot of pieces. So it's hard for me to guess, when all the dust settles, but I want to bet on, I think USC, if these guys that came in are who we expect them to be, I think that we should be the favorites to win the Pac-12.
I would say that I'm assuming that Cam Rising's coming back. There's been a lot of chatter that he is. I would put Utah at the class of the Pac-12. I see Oregon, Washington, and USC. Any of those teams can be 2, 3, and 4, very deep. And Matt had mentioned that the schedule is going to be released sometime in January. The rotation calls for us to play Oregon and Washington. I would not be surprised to see the Pac-12 have us play Oregon and Washington both on the road to make sure that a USC and a UCLA do not qualify for the Pac-12 championship game in their last year. I'll put my tin cap on right now, but why wouldn't they? And UCLA is going to get the Oregon State and Washington State schools, but it wouldn't surprise me to have this imbalanced schedule, kind of a going away present. And that's fine because, hey, cream rises to the top.
So wait, Rick, you're saying at Autzen the week on a Friday night after the week before playing in Seattle? Is that what you're calling right now?
No, I'm not saying that. Right. You're saying that right now. I'm just saying
right after we go to South Bend.
It would surprise me. We're supposed to have Washington at home and play Oregon at Autzen, but it wouldn't surprise me to play both of those schools up in the Pacific Northwest. That's okay though.
Utah's losing I think Utah's losing a lot. They lose Clark Phillips, right? I think they lose both Keith Vian and Kincaid. Even if they bring back Rising, I think that I like our chances there.
They have a great recruiting class this year. They've been recruiting well. They have a system. They're like weeds, dude. there's like 3 or 4 guys that you even know about that you know that they're there that they're going to fill right in.
But one more thing, Rick.
You pull the weed and 3 more growing.
Rick,
so,
they're at the Coliseum this year. They're at the Coliseum this year.
Hopefully. Don't be surprised.
Right, it's true.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, they're going to have some surprises. And that's cool. Cool.
And one other thing, and sorry, I know we're probably over time. One of the Twitter accounts that tends to be very accurate on Big Ten stuff. And I mean, we don't like to base anything off Twitter accounts because it's, often nonsense, but has said essentially that they believe that the Big Ten is done adding Pac-12 teams for the very long foreseeable future. And that they expect the Big Ten's focus will be on ACC teams in Notre Dame. And they report, whether accurate or not, we don't know whether accurate or not, but the USC and UCLA have not been interested in adding other Pac-12 teams to the Big Ten. So,
which checks out to me. Yeah. Why do you want to split the revenue pie even more ways?
Yeah, but the point being that USC and UCLA have been encouraging that, Miami's beautiful this time of year. So who knows? We'll see. But this was sort of the order list that they were talking about. Again, whether accurate or not, we don't know. But
it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Pac-12 media rights deal. It should be happening sometime in January. Is that what you're hearing, Matt?
Not exactly sure in terms of the timing. And of course, you have San Diego State and that addition. One wonders about the timing of that and how Kliavkoff's going to lay it all out. But I mean, I'm less focused on the timing and more just on
pony ears, pony up.
I think it's just more on the components. And like with Amazon, for instance, is that the Pac-12's play in terms of getting dollars that are comparable to the Big 12? Just another plot point to watch for, and it's going to be interesting how it all shakes out. I do think that San Diego State's definitely going to be announced to the Pac-12 in 2023, but exactly when, like Kliavkoff hasn't projected to me that he's all that concerned about having to do things right away. And frankly, I think that's okay. Like, I don't think that's a fundamental misread. I think it's more about getting it right. Whatever you're doing, you have to get it right rather than get it as quickly as possible. I think that, Brett Yormark did a great job with the Big 12, but I don't think that the fact that he did a great job and got a pretty good dollar figure, I don't think that had too much to do with the timing of when he did it. And it was just more of he was able to arrive at that number. I think it's similar for Kliavkoff. It's not a matter of getting this media rights deal done sooner. It's, do you have something solid with Amazon or maybe Apple to get, a digital deal along with an ESPN package that will fetch comparable rights fees. So to me, it's less about the timing.
It also seems like Kliavkoff, and this is a function of, I think, the Pac-12 universities as a whole. The Pac-12 presidents and chancellors are not stressed about like whether some dude and his like tailgating trailer RV are impressed with like what he thinks of their handling of football. Like, I joked. I had a post the other day. I had a lot of numbers of the Pac-12, and the Big 12 stuff was in thousands and millions, and the Pac-12 stuff was in billions. And I told people, dollars B does not stand for 1,000. So they run their organizations as multi-billion-dollar institutions, and not as multi-$1,000 institutions.